She put on her graduation gown the night before, full of hope for the morning ceremony. But just before sunrise, her body was found on the living room floor, shot in the head. 3 others lay dead beside her. All of them had gathered to celebrate life until someone walked in and shattered theirs. This isn't just a story about bullets. It's about the people inside that house, their lives, their dreams, and how a joyful night turned into horror without warning.
It happened inside an Englewood home that led to gunfire just before 6 a.m. Now 4 people are dead, 4 others injured.
According to the friends and family who showed up at the scene today, a mother of 5 among the 4 shot and killed early this morning. 3 of the victims pronounced dead at the scene were women, 1 man. Of the 4 surviving victims, there are 3 men and a woman. No guns were found in the house, but police did find shell casings and a high-capacity magazine for a gun.
This is crazy. I mean, why do people gotta keep on shooting and killing people for what?
It was a warm Monday night in June, one of those summer evenings in Chicago when kids stay out late and porches stay lit with conversation. On 62nd and Morgan Street, a 2-story gray stone house stood quiet outside, but was buzzing with energy inside. This wasn't just a casual get-together. It was a gathering to remember someone who passed away. Friends and family came together in one of the only ways they knew how, through community. The house belonged to Enrique Badillo Sr., a Chicago police officer who didn't live there but rented it to a man named James Tolbert. James was a barber who, after COVID, shut down the shop where he worked and started cutting hair out of his home. The house quickly became a hub, not just for haircuts, but for food, conversation, various games, and shared moments. In a neighborhood where community spaces are rare, this house's purpose was to fill a void. Inside that home were people just trying to enjoy the night. Shermetria Williams, just 19 years old, was one of them. She had a 2-year-old daughter and dreams of building a better life. That very morning, she was supposed to graduate from Country Club Hills Tech and Trade Center. Her gown was ready, her family had tickets. Her cousin Marquita had texted her the night before about picking out a dress for the ceremony. That dress would never be worn. Denise Niecy Mathis, 32, was also there, a devoted mother of 5. She was known for her big heart and an even bigger love for her children. Every move she made for them. Her friends would later say that Niecy was the glue of her family. Retaliation Rogers, 28, had come all the way from up north in the Rogers Park neighborhood. She'd made the trip out south to Englewood to be with people she cared about. Those closest to her said she wasn't involved in the streets. She just wanted to be amongst friends. And then there was Blake Lee, 35, who lived in the home. After losing both his mother and grandmother in a short span, he found a sense of comfort and belonging in that house. He wasn't causing trouble. He was just trying to make it through life quietly and peacefully. By all accounts, he was said to be a chill and to himself type of dude. And Brianna Lawrence, who had also come to the gathering that night, initially survived her injuries, but days later, she succumbed to them in the hospital. Her death brought the total number of lives lost to 5. That night, a 2-year-old child was in one of the back rooms occupying herself playing with toys, unaware of what was coming. Music played, people talked. There was said to be an argument that took place about what exactly wasn't mentioned, but arguments are typically just another way that people turn up the kickback. But no one inside knew that danger was already at the door. Police believe the shooting occurred shortly before 5:45 a.m. on Tuesday, June 15, 2021. But there's evidence that gunfire may have erupted earlier that night. Around 2 a.m., ShotSpotter technology picked up sounds of gunfire in the area, but no 911 call followed. This earlier conflict may have been the spark that set off the fire. It wasn't until hours later, after another round of gunshots, that someone finally called for help. What happened next can only be pieced together through fragments, witness accounts, shell casings, and bloodstains. There was no sign of forced entry, suggesting the shooter or shooters may have entered through an unlocked door. Some believe they came in from the back through the garage. Whoever it was, they came prepared. Nearly 24 shell casings from a 9mm handgun were found throughout the home. One of the recovered items was a high-capacity drum magazine used to fire a hailstorm of bullets rapidly without reloading. Inside, the violence was deliberate and devastating. Blake Lee was found near the hallway, shot in the head. Shermetria was found in a bedroom, her hands covering her face as if she had seen it coming. Denise and Retaliation were found nearby, both pronounced dead at the scene. Breonna Lawrence would be rushed to the hospital, but her injuries were too severe. 3 others survived, but just barely. A 25-year-old man and a 41-year-old man were both shot in the back of the head and rushed to the Advocate Christ Medical Center. Their conditions were not made public. A 23-year-old man was shot in the back and managed to walk himself to the St. Bernard Hospital before being transferred to the University of Chicago Medical Center in critical condition. Another adult woman was taken to the same hospital, also in critical condition. The 2-year-old girl miraculously was physically unharmed, crying viciously, and clearly traumatized. She was taken to the hospital for observation. When officers arrived at the scene, they found the home soaked in blood and silenced in joy. Superintendent David Brown later said in a press conference, "We have 4 people who are deceased, 3 women and 1 man. 4 others were wounded." He emphasized that there was no sign of forced entry and said the presence of a high-capacity magazine indicated this was a targeted, premeditated act. The city of Chicago had a complicated history with the house. Neighbors made complaints. There were reports of frequent parties, loud music, gambling, and late-night activity. In fact, the city filed a lawsuit against the property owner, Officer Badillo, years earlier, demanding security improvements. He was stripped of his police powers pending an investigation and was difficult for the city to contact, despite being on the payroll. Alderman Stephanie Coleman said that the house had been a problem for years. "This was a mass shooting that will affect another generation," she said. "The neighbors have been calling, attending beat meetings. They've done their part." Still, no arrests have been made, no charges were filed, and no suspects were named. Neighborhood activist Andrew Holmes, who often responds to crime scenes, spoke to the heart of the issue. "Every time people gather, whether they're inside their homes or outside, we got individuals that discharge weapons. But who is going to talk? Who is going to give up the information? In areas like Englewood, cooperation isn't just discouraged, it can be dangerous. Snitching can carry a death sentence. Silence becomes survival, and justice remains just out of reach." 4 years later, the case is still open. The trail has gone cold. Police have floated theories, perhaps retaliation, maybe a dispute possibly connected to gambling or money. But no one truly knows. What's clear is that someone walked into that house and fired a weapon capable of mass killing. Someone left 5 people dead and others clinging to life. And sadly, it seems someone got away with it. The tragedy wasn't just lives lost. It was what those lives represented. Shermetria never got to walk across that graduation stage. Her family still holds onto her cap and gown. Her daughter will grow up without a mother. Denise's 5 children will grow up without the woman who anchored their world. Retaliation came to visit friends and never made it back home. Blake was trying to hold on to the only community he had left, and it cost him his life. Breonna Lawrence fought for days to survive, but ultimately became another name in a case with no closure. And the 2-year-old girl will grow up with questions that may never be answered. In a world where silence is survival and justice is too often delayed, the lives lost in Englewood call out to us, not just to remember, but to act, to honor the dead. We must uplift the living. We must believe in change. As James Baldwin once said, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." So we face it, we tell their stories, and we refuse to look away. I know the families of these victims still lack the closure that they so desperately deserve, but I humbly hope this piece gives some semblance of justice for Shermetria, Denise, Retaliation, Blake, and all of their loved ones.